Not too much progress since last week in our basement kitchen. We're still waiting on the HVAC and to get all the drywall and all the floors done. Obviously, we're not going to be on time for the one room challenge reveal next week, so I will be sharing the kitchen when we can actually start it. I did manage to prime all of my Ikea door panels last week, so if you continue watching this video, you're going to see some handy tips on how I did that. And in a couple of months, I'm going to be sharing how the doors have lasted over time using all the different painting methods. So some doors I sanded, some I didn't, some I primed, some I didn't. And I'm going to be using two different kinds of paint as well. So hopefully if you're planning on painting your Ikea kitchen cabinets, like me, or any kind of kitchen cabinets, it'll be some great information to have. Thanks for watching. Check out the tips on painting and see you guys next week and for the final kitchen reveal when we can actually get that done. Thanks. I've already sanded the fronts of the boards and the sides. These are the Ikea Xerum doors. I'm actually priming first the back, and I'm not taking off the sticker just because I'm lazy. But the reason I'm doing the back and all the sides is so that when I flip it over to do the front, I'm not gonna, like, in case it doesn't dry properly, I'm not gonna get any lines on the front. The front I want to look the best, so that's why I'm doing the backs first. So essentially I'm just taking some paint and a roller, and this is kind of, it's a shaker door, so this is the technique. I just kind of loop this on. With my roller, I'm getting into the cracks here. And then, I mean, you can do the cracks here, but again, this is the back, so I'm not worried about being too perfect. When I do the fronts, I will be using a brush though. So I just kind of roll this on, and then I'm going to, using a light brush, or light rolling, I'm going to just roll this on all my sides. I just do two sides to start. Then I have everything on these little like scrap pieces of wood so that it doesn't stick to the tarp. And I'm just rolling all the sides, really, really light coat. I don't want to gloop it because I don't want it to go to the front, but in case it does, I'll just sand it when it's dry. But doing it really lightly, all my sides are covered, lightly placing it down, and then continuing on. I'm getting more paint. And I'm just making sure to not gloop a lot of paint. Basically, you want to put less is more paint. Don't want to get into any of these holes. I'm going to need these. These are for drawers. And then make sure I don't really have any streaks. And that's pretty much it. And I just have a couple more left. I let the prime doors dry about 24 hours, and then I'm just going to flip them over. I already did all the sides, so I'm going to be able to just do the fronts. I'm not going to have to turn them, so hopefully they're a nice, perfect finish. In case there are any gloops along the edges, I'm just going to lightly sand them down with a clean sanding sponge. But this one looks pretty good. I'm going to see if there's a lot of doors, so some of them might be a little bit messy. So I'm going to put it down nicely, and then get a little bit of light paint. I think I'm going to try the same thing with my roller and goop it in the corners here. If that doesn't work, I will get a brush and do it perfectly, but it seems to be working out nice. This is the perfect size for my roller. And then lightly go over everything. Again, I don't want it to be too thick. I want to make sure that there are no visible paint seams because I have still a few more coats to go. So if you screw up kind of your first coat, you're never going to be able to fix it. So if you can make it as perfect as possible every step of the way, then it'll work out great. Here's an example of a big goop of paint. It fell over from this side, and you want to pay attention to your corners because that's probably where they're gonna go. So what I'm doing is just taking a regular sanding sponge. You can use any kind of sandpaper too. I just like the sponge because it's a bit softer for my hands. You're gonna lightly go over the area. And what this is gonna do is just kind of smooth it out. And you can feel it with your finger, so you're not gonna get that hard line of where the paint dripped. Once you paint, like right now it feels smooth, once you paint that over with the second coat, third coat, you're not gonna be able to see it. And it's important to get them every step of the way, or you're gonna eventually, it's gonna just keep covering up, and it's gonna be really thick in the end. So again, pay attention to your corners and all the sides here. And that's looking pretty good.